G'day guys, high energy period 29th of October till the 5th of November has come to an end, and as such that broad low that formed over the west broke down just as quickly as it moved on shore, and remnant patchy showers and storms were very isolated, highly coastal, and remained to that coastal boundary of southern South Australia, parts of Victoria, generally western Tasmania. You'll see when this loop refreshes, there's a low there, it moved on shore at the 5th. Once the 5th ended, energy was turned off and the system lost its structure, which is what we suggested would happen once it moved on shore, and any rainfall would be highly marginal and limited to the coastal boundary as that trough stayed pretty much along the coast. What we'll see now is as the system moves to the east, there'll be some storms and showers building for East Gippsland as the southerly moves up from the Tasman. So there's a bit of a rain shadow there. So when rain comes from the west, East Gippsland misses out. But once the lows move into the Tasman in the right position, we'll get the onshore flow. So there's elevated rainfall potential for East Gippsland, which is good to see, 10 to 15 mils. And as this trough that's forming through the central interior and the final frames of this loop moves to the east, we'll see storms fire up through eastern New South Wales, eastern Queensland, moving up through to the top end. And we'll see those traditional build-up storms continue for the Kimberley, top end, parts of the peninsula and through the Gulf country, but mostly through the northern interior. There's also this tropical anomaly out here. We have some model runs suggesting that there'll be a weak low that moves in towards the Kimberley. That's not going to happen. This will just be a moisture injection that'll move in towards the northwest, move into mid-month, and this will precede this major rainfall period that we're looking at for week 4 of November. So what we're looking at is, this is the major feature for November. I have it forming from around the 19th. This was forecast back in June. Current models bring it in a few days before that, probably around mid-month. The major source of moisture for this will be this moisture anomaly out in the Indian Ocean. It's more of a trough that'll just be captured by a northwest flow. So nothing sinister, no tropical cyclone signals. But if we go to Meteorologics, you can see this is the general progression of this system moving into the northwest. This is not going to be a tropical cyclone. However, this is a key signal to look for regarding our December forecast. This again was forecast back in June, where we have tropical cyclone genesis likely from about the 8th. We'll probably see something earlier than that, so the start of December, but we'll see a named tropical low, no doubt, by the 8th to the 12th. And being a little bit stronger, that system can track further south, looking at some sort of landfall interaction, probably as a shear trough around the 16th, which will bring rain into the western interior, mostly from the Pilbara to the Kimberley. So this will be your first named tropical system of the year. Whether it makes cyclone category or not, I'm not really interested. I'm doubtful it will, but this is the system to watch. That'll move into the west coast, somewhere around this southern Pilbara, bringing rain right into the western interior, which later on extends rain down into the western parts of Western Australia into week 4, into that Christmas period. At the same time as that builds, we'll see moisture building into the Gulf through eastern Queensland, which again feeds into a broad storm system. Where's the map gone? Into week 4, Christmas period of December as well. So we'll see a very, very active week leading up to about Boxing Day for eastern states and western states, which is good to see. So following this low, this is the low that moved on shore from Western Australia on the 5th. It's now moving across southern Victoria. It'll move into the Tasman from tomorrow. And that'll generate storms up through the east while we see storms build in across the Northern Territory and eventually into the eastern states. What's interesting again is this blob here. We'll see it track to the east. And as that moves to the east, this is what's going to help generate those storms into mid-November, into the later part of November for the greater east. We'll see a broad northwest cloud band, tropical origin, so we'll see extensive rain, thunderstorms moving in from the Kimberley, Northern Territory, Queensland. There's that corridor through South Australia that we're looking at, should be a focus area of interest. So this is your last shot for areas in northwest New South Wales, western New South Wales, northwest Victoria and eastern parts of South Australia before we see that transition towards northern-based systems. So the way this corridor keeps popping up is of interest. Models will overestimate rain. They've been doing it all spring. So if it's showing you 50 to 100 mils, probably cut it in half. But this is your best opportunity of the season to date. And then that'll push into the eastern states by the 19th. So there could be a day or two difference in when this actually occurs. I've got it forming from the 19th. If you look at my map, released in June. Sorry, that's December. I just released one map for each event. because that's how it usually works. I don't obviously run computer models to make my forecast. So this is the general outlook produced on the 6th of June 2025 for this system, and it has it from late week 3 into week 4 of November. You'll see that the low should form from the 19th. So that's when this broad trough and cloud band becomes transitional and starts moving from its building phase in the interior, moving to the east. We'll see some quite extreme storms by the 24th for the east coast, mostly the Capricornia to northeast New South Wales, in that traditional thunderstorm corridor. So just be aware of that, 19th or 24th, very high energy. And with the current solar events kicking off, we're seeing X flares again, and that coincided with the last wet period from the 29th to the 5th. We need those blasts of energy to really get these systems going. So I expect more solar news coming out over the next few weeks, and those solar events will peak by about the 5th of December. And again, that's a key date to consider for this northwest region regarding tropical cyclone genesis, moving into the wet season. So yeah, that about sums it up for the general outlook. The major rain system is on track, give or take a day or two from the long range forecast. People in the southeast, take advantage of this. This is likely to be the last major rain band for the season, especially for spring, and the December storms will be more coastal due to the energy cycles. We won't see as deep moisture profiles again for some time in the south, probably not for a long time. So following this, predominantly all the weather will shift to the northern tropics outside of coastal storms across the east coast. And we'll start seeing fire risk building through most of the southeast interior, and that'll extend right through to March. We're expecting a late fire season for the southeast. These dry anomalies that are building will mature over summer with late fire development. So just be aware of that, landholders in the southeast interior. There'll probably be just enough rainfall to generate growth, but not enough to have wet soil. So it'll be a double-edged sword there. Pay attention to future updates. Cheers.